Thank you, everyone, for being here this evening. We're going to read a proclamation first here for Black History Month. Me and Miss Nikki Chambers are going to read it. You sure you don't? Okay. All righty. Proclamation. Whereas each February, Black History Month serves as both a celebration and a powerful reminder that Black history is an American history, Black culture is American culture, Black stories are essential to the ongoing story of America. Our faults, our struggles, our progress, and our aspirations. And whereas for many generations, countless Black Americans have demonstrated profound moral courage and resilience to help shape the nation for better. Today, Black Americans lead industry, movements, and changes, serve on communities and our national at levels and advance at every field across the board. In the face of wounds, obstacles older than the nation itself, Black Americans have been seen in every part of society today, strengthening and uplifting the American man.
Whereas the 2024 Black History Month theme, African Americans and the Arts, explores how African American art is infused with African, Caribbean, and the Black American lived experiences. In the fields of visual and performing arts, literature, fashion, folklore, language, film, music, architecture, culinary, and other forms of cultural expression, the African American influence has been paramount. African American artists have used art to preserve history and community memory, as well as for empowerment, and whereas we should recommit to reach for that founding promise that all of us are created equal and deserve to be treated with equal dignity throughout our lives. We should take time to celebrate the vast contributions of Black Americans, honor the legacies and achievements of generations past, reckon with centuries of injustice, and confront those injustices that still fester today.
Yes, ma'am. Put my glasses back on. Can't see. Now, therefore, we, James R. Knight Jr., Mayor of the City of Hopkinsville, and Jerry Gillum, Judge Executive of Christian County, along with the Human Rights Commission, do hereby proclaim February as Black History Month. In all Hopkinsville and Christian County, we encourage all residents to join in paying tribute to the generations of Black Americans who have enriched our nation's history and instrumental in the future success. Signed on the 6th day of February, 2024. Okay. See how bad I messed this up tonight. All right. All righty. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you for everyone being here for the proclamation that we had right before council here for Black History Month. And thank you all for being part of that with HRC for being here tonight. I will call to order and then excuse me, and need an invocation for Ward 6, if Travis Martin would take care of that.
Yes, sir. So my guest here tonight is the senior pastor at Caskey Baptist Church, Mr. Jesse Brown. I just want to let him know that little church on Caskey Lane is very special to me and my family. My parents they were married in that building over 60 years ago. And I can remember as a child running up and down the halls of that church and up and down the stairs. And life eventually does come full circle. Just a little bit over 2 years ago, Brother Jesse officiated my father's funeral at that church as well. So I just want to thank you for being here and just let you know how much you and that church means to my family. Thank you. And I said I wasn't going to cry.
So Travis, thank you for that introduction. And I think it is an important reminder of the critical needs that churches provide in the community. I always tell our church that you need to support your local church because everybody's going to need marrying or burying at some point. And so it's a good idea to have a local church family, and it's been an honor to serve your family. And thank you all for your service in the community as well. The city council, mayor, staff, and first responders that are here tonight. And we just want to thank you all for the work that you do in the community to make this community a great place to live. My church does serve this community, although we are located in the county. A good majority of our members dwell here in the city, so it's important to me the work that you all do here on this council. And I appreciate the opportunity to pray for you all and the work that you do. And I want to thank you on behalf of our church and our members for the work that is done through this body. And if you would mind, would appreciate you joining me in prayer. Father, I give you thanks tonight for this opportunity to not only be a mouthpiece for you in this place, but it's an honor to get to serve in a community like this that loves the way this community loves, that reaches the way this community reaches. And I thank you for a chance to be a part of it. What a privilege it is to call Christian County and Hopkinsville our home, and a chance, Lord, to make a difference in the time that we live in. And so, Lord, tonight I've been asked to invoke your name over this meeting. And so I believe, Lord, a meeting that has been called together and then and asked to invoke your name over, Lord, should be a meeting that glorifies this name, the name above all names, the name of Jesus Christ. And Lord, I thank you for the decisions that will be made here tonight, knowing that these decisions will affect many, will affect individuals and communities alike. And so, God, I pray for this council, for the folks that are here tonight as they leverage ideas, opinions, and ultimately decisions, Lord, that there would be faithful choices here made tonight, righteous choices, Lord, choices of purity, choices that would be rooted and discerned by your voice here tonight. And Lord, I thank you for just a chance to pray because I do believe that there is a way, there is a truth, and there is a life. And that is through the name of Jesus Christ. And so we thank you, Lord, for just this chance tonight to live, to be affected by one another. And Lord, I believe that your word is a lamp unto our feet, a light unto our path. And your word tells us that you would grant wisdom to all who would ask, Lord. So I pray for this body that they would ask for wisdom tonight from you, knowing that all the authority that they have has been given by you to them, and it's been ordained for them to be in this place in this time. So God, we just ask you now tonight, as we invoke your name over this meeting, throughout this meeting, that you would be glorified this meeting, so that the conversations, actions, and decisions would be good for us and pleasing to you. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Thank you, Travis. Appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, sir. If we could now please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We'll call on Miss Brittany to call the roll.
Councilmember Francis,
Here.
Councilmember Smiley,
Here.
Councilmember Marsh,
Here.
Councilmember Crabtree,
Here.
Councilmember Craig. Here. Councilmember Martin,
Here.
Councilmember Wilcox,
Here.
Councilmember Meek,
Here.
Councilmember Lomberger,
Here.
Councilmember Keel,
Here.
Councilmember Bell,
Here.
Councilmember Handy.
Present.
And we do have a quorum.
All right. Thank you all for being here this evening. Now we move to item 5, awards and recognition. Before I call up the Hopkinsville Fire Department, I would ask Miss Amanda Brunt to please come forward just a second. I'd like I'd like for everyone to see Miss Amanda. She is our new PIO. I'd like for everyone to know she's here. If you got anything going on that the council needs to talk, she'll get it out for us. She does a great job for me so far in getting everything out for what we have to do, but I wanted everyone to meet her right here this evening. Thank you. Thank you, Miss Amanda. Now I call on Chief Futrell. Come on up.
Hello, sir. Good evening, council members and mayor. We're here tonight to recognize Jason Hale for his retirement from the Hopkinsville Fire Department. People step up here with me. Jason has led a career of service. Shortly after school, he joined the Navy, where he received several accolades, including Sailor of the Year, which is a huge award. Shortly after the Navy, he moved back to Hopkinsville, where he joined the Hopkinsville Police Department, and then transitioned over to the fire department. In the fire department, he was promoted to the rank of engineer. Jason is a fire guy. He is always the guy that's there. Every fire I ever worked, big fire, we do call back. He was always there. He's always the guy. We're going to miss him. We love him. Hope to see him around as much as we can. Mayor, you want to read that, or you want me to read it? Here. It says Jason Hale, 18 July 2005, 30 November 2023. Presented to Jason Hale in recognition and appreciation for 18 years and 4 months of loyal and faithful service. Your dedication and devotion to the Hopkinsville Fire Department has contributed immeasurably in saving lives and protecting citizens. We are proud of your accomplishments throughout your career. On behalf of the citizens of Hopkinsville, we thank you. City of Hopkinsville, Hopkinsville Fire Department, Christian County EMS.
Congratulations, sir. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Let them ease out and we'll start moving forward. All righty. Thank you to Chief Futrell and Fire Department for that, for Mr. Hale. And now we move on to public comments. Item 6, if anyone in the floor would like to come up and speak at the podium, please do at this time.
Good evening. I'm Diane Croney-Turner with Jeffers Bend Environmental Center. I put some calendar of events on your in front of you, and I also put our newsletter for the year through December of 23. If you look through our newsletter, you'll see all the activities that go on at Jeffers Bend. We would like volunteers to come out to Jeffers Bend. We always need volunteers. Remember, everybody's volunteering. Nobody really gets paid at Jeffers Bend, and it's all family oriented. So we have Natasha, and we have Jamie, and we have Jason and Matthew have been out volunteering for our events. We would like to challenge each council member to come out to at least one event at Jeffers Bend to see what goes on at Jeffers Bend, to see how the families come together. Like Take Kids Fishing is our first event. You have grandparents, children, aunties, uncles. It may be the first time that a child catch a fish. You will be surprised what takes place. And you will see some pictures in our newsletter. So we just invite the council to come out. If you want to volunteer, you can get in touch with us. And my husband volunteers. He's the one that's in charge of it, Charles Turner. So we just like for everybody to think about Jeffers Bend this year and thank the city for what you do for Jeffers Bend each and every day. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
ma'am.
you.
Anyone else on the floor would like to come and speak? The floor is open. Here comes Miss Keller.
Good evening, y'all. I'm Alyssa Keller from the Museums of Historic Hopkinsville, Christian County. And I just wanted to give y'all, I didn't know I could put them on your desks like Diane did. It's just a little recap of 2023 at the museum with some fun numbers and then some of our strategic priorities for 2024. Just wanted to share those with you. I will point out a couple of things on here. One of our numbers is 2 major weather events that affected the Woody Winfrey Fire Transportation Museum on March 31st and on July 5th. And we're still, thanks to Holly's dedication, working with insurance companies, getting that all worked out. We also established a foundation this year, the Hopkinsville History Foundation. We hosted 98 programs with our small staff, and 70% of those were free. And we think that's a very important thing that we do for our community. We also shared 214 meals. The museum, in partnership with the Human Rights Commission, started a program we call the Supper Club, and it happens 6 times a year, and it's the best time you'll ever have. We typically meet at the museum and have someone from our community come in and cook and share their food and their traditions with us. Our next one is this Thursday, and the Nance siblings will be cooking soul food in honor of Black History Month, and we've had to move to a larger venue, and we're sold out because it's going to be huge and it's going to be delicious. So if you didn't sign up, I'm sorry for you. And we might be able to sneak you in if you really want. But anyway, I just wanted to share these with y'all. And like I said, one side is where we were last year, and the next side is where we're going this year.
All right.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else in the audience like to come and speak at the podium now? All right. Here we go. Anyone else? All right, we'll move on into item 7, mayor's comments. I'd like for everyone to remember bell hooks on the 3-1. We're going to be doing the naming of the road over here, straight across from us, and we're going to have a big thing on that. Also have the Ag Breakfast on 3/19 at the Silo, and we spoke up with the Ag Business Commission today, and they're going to have that big dinner there. If anyone can be able to go to that, we'd like to do that. And I'd like to give a big shout out to Mike and Dave and all their hard work on the snow plowing and everything they did. Now he's filling potholes, and I appreciate it. And Blaine and them have been really busy with what's going on, and I appreciate everything they're doing, because we went from snow, a little ice, to potholes, and now if we can get through Valentine's Day weekend, hopefully we'll be heading towards spring on that. And other things going on, we are getting ready for budget season. I like for everybody to be thinking about that. My department heads already are. Miss Clayton has been working with them, and so's Gary. He's been pushing very hard to get the timelines out. But all the agencies that are listening, let's be thinking about that so we can get this stuff in and be ready to go on that. One other last thing I will talk about before we get into other things here is the water park. And we're going to talk about that tonight. Folks, we have a lot to do here. That is a great asset to our community. It is a way of life in our community for young people with kids that really enjoy it. And as I've talked to most of you, it's something that we need to be working on and thinking on. And I want the public to know that up front, that we are going to try to do our best to get everything up and going like it's supposed to be. Thank you. All right. Moving from that, I get to move on into reports from officers and guest speakers. We're going to Pyle Lane zoning, and that would be Mr. Tom Britton.
Thank you, Mayor Nye, council members. You have in your packet a recommendation for original zoning for properties on Pyle Lane. The recommendation affects 6 properties. This property is on the other side of Pyle Lane from the Food Line United Southern Bank. Property consists of 5 duplexes as well as 1 single-family property. Property owners were notified of the proposed zoning as well as adjoining property owners. Notice was provided. We held the statutory hearing. We did not receive any negative comments. from anyone concerning the zoning. The commission, after the public hearing, reviewed the request and voted to favorably recommend it to you, finding that the proposal was in agreement with the comprehensive plan and was justified by recent social, physical, economic changes in the area. Mr. Mayor, council members, if you have any questions, be happy to answer them.
Any questions for Mr. Britton?
I'd like to make a motion. We send that to the clerk and turn it to an ordinance. Second.
Got Don, Steve, and Don. All right, any discussion on this before we vote on it? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty, seeing none, that moves on. Item B, we're back to you, Mr. Tom, on the Ellen Street closure.
Mr. Chairman, and I'm not sure, or excuse me, Mr. Mayor, I'm not sure how to get this to the street closure piece, so I may need some technical assistance with that. I see it right here.
Hey, there it is.
That's it.
Yep.
This one,
Yeah,
this one, show it.
I got it.
Okay, there you go.
All right. Mr. Mayor, council members, you have in your packet a recommendation from the Planning Commission concerning the closure of a portion of Ellen Street. And this is a little bit unusual request, so I'm going to go through the slides to show you exactly what we're recommending to you. There are two Ellens within the city of Hopkinsville, not to confuse Ellen Street with Ellen Drive. Ellen Street is located off of Falls Lane. This is just south of East 18th Street. This is a fairly short dead-end street. The city maintains the full length of the right-of-way is approximately 233 feet. The applicant, which is Mr. Quarles, is requesting the closure of the very end of this roadway. Currently, Public Works maintains approximately 140 of the 230 feet of roadway. So the portion that is requested for closure is currently owned by the city but not maintained as a public street. This is a picture of Ellen Street. It is semi-improved. Where the telephone pole is approximately the end of public maintenance. As you can see, there is a house located in a portion of the right-of-way proposed for closure. This is a picture of the house that is approximately 2/3 within the current right-of-way of Ellen Street. This is a retracement plat showing the property. Mr. Quarles acquired the adjoining property and began the process of rehabilitating the houses. In the course of approaching the third house, it was determined that about 2/3 of the house was in a right-of-way. This was deeded to the city in 1951-52. The city maintains approximately to where that closure line is. Mr. Quarles has provided an application as well as we've received consent and waivers from the adjoining property owners. The Planning Commission reviewed this request in accordance with the comprehensive plan, as well as city utilities and the like. We received favorable comments from Public Works as well as affected utilities, and the commission is recommending this closure to you based on its conformance with the comprehensive plan. Mr. Mayor, if you or any council members have any questions, be happy to answer them.
All right, motion?
Second.
I got Mr. Don and Miss Amy. Any questions for Tom Britton on this? All righty. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, it passes. Thank you, Mr. Tom.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor.
All righty. Item C is grant update. Miss Stacy, will you please come on up here and talk to us just a minute? And she's going to give us an update on the grants that she's been doing, and since she's been upstairs with Miss Clayton and them.
Good evening. I am here to provide you a grant update. And in the short, this is just an overview. I'm currently managing 16 grants. I've researched more than 1,000 grants since I've come on board in July. And I've submitted 4 grant applications thus far. On the screen, you'll see a list of the 16 projects that are currently being administered by me. 8 of those are cities, the city grants. 7 of them are surface and stormwater utility grants, and 1 is an agency grant for the Boys and Girls Club. So the first grant that we'll be talking about is the DR 4702 grant, and that was a grant from the March 3rd and 4th storms that came through. That was from FEMA, and the total award that we've gotten is $727,000, and there is a potential for admin fees of up to a little over $36,000. The next grant is the Kentucky Cabinet for Economic Development. This is for Commerce Park 2. This is an $11 million grant, $7 million provided by the state, $4 million in match. And to date, we have spent just a little over $8 million with a little over $2 million remaining to be expended on this project. Next, we have the RTP and LWCF grants, which is Recreational Trails Program and Land and Water Conservation Fund. Those are going to be utilized for the Party Lane Park project and trails. Total funding is $270,000 for that, and then there will be ARPA funds included to make that project happen. Then we have Kentucky Housing Corporation. This was a grant for the demolition and reconstruction of 2 houses within the city. One project is complete and one is almost complete. And then it was paired with CDBG funds to make the projects happen. Then we have the Patrick Leahy Bulletproof Vest Partnership Program, and that is a grant that allows us to reimburse 50% of the cost for bulletproof vests up to the allocation of $28,000, so $14,000. Next, we have the Governor's Highway Safety Grant, and that is used for the purpose of reducing fatalities on roadways, minimizing injuries to both individuals and property, and educate the public on ways to do that, and that total grant is $25,000. We have the Litter Abatement Grant, which is used for the city's Trash for Cash program. And during 2023, approximately 203 roadway miles were cleared of litter using this grant. And that grant award was a little over $14,000. For grant research, as I've stated, I've researched upwards of 1,000 grants to date. As I'm doing research, if I'm finding things that other nonprofits or other agencies can use, I'm going to let them know so that they have the opportunity to get those if we're not eligible. And then I've also started researching what other communities in the state are applying for to make sure that I'm not missing anything that we're eligible for. And then we have submitted 4 grant applications. Really, the grant application cycles are starting now, so I should be pretty busy until the end of the year. And then the grants listed up there are grants that I'm looking into as opportunities for the city. Are there any questions?
Any questions for Mr. Meeks?
I just have a comment. I want to thank you for everything that you're doing. I don't know how many kudos you get or validation, but you have probably earned your annual wages about 50 times already.
Thank you.
So, I mean, you've been a great multiplier for the city and everyone else. So I want to publicly thank you for all you've done.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Mr. Keel?
I've actually, I got a question about one of the grants
Sure.
that you had up, and you scroll back to it, whatever, I got it in front of me. The one, the DR 4702, that was
Yes.
the FEMA grant.
Yes.
That one just kind of caught my eye, 727,000. So what, the FEMA portion of it was 545 and state,
Yes.
we had our match. And you may not be the one to answer this. It might be Mike or Melissa. What was the city's, how much did we actually of that grant, how much have we used?
Melissa?
We spent paying the company, we signed a contract with them, the company that came in and actually removed the debris. We spent around $196,000.
So would that be taken off the 727?
Yes.
Okay, so there's somewhere 400,000 or 500,000 left of that.
Around 430. I don't have the
430.
exact number in front of me. I can go get it if you guys need it.
I don't know. find out in a minute, I guess. So my question is this, of the remaining funds, what are we limited to on this grant? If we've got, I mean, looks like to me we got $430,000 kind of sitting there.
So the grant paid for the actual expenses of the debris removal, and then it was labor reimbursement. A lot of this is the labor reimbursement of what our actual employees spent. So it's not really limited. It's to reimburse the city for our wages.
So I guess my question would be though, if there's $400,000 left over, is there any limitations on what we can use the leftover money for?
No.
So we can, so how's that work? I mean, where's the money sitting now?
The money is sitting in the grant fund, the city's grant fund. But we have a specific grant fund for DR 4702. If you'll recall from the council retreat last year when I talked about the different grant funds, we label the grant, so it's sitting in the grant fund. When we received the money in, it went into the grant fund to pay for the expenses, and it's really just sitting in the grant
So
fund.
how does that money move out of the grant fund?
Does it need council approval to be moved?
It does not currently need council approval to be moved.
That's a lot of money. So,
So for me to clarify then, that 430,000, we can use it for any items that we would like to see, like,
Yes.
okay, all right.
You can move it to the capital fund or the general fund, whatever council wants to do with those funds.
Well, I'd like to make a motion that we send this to the future funding and let the future funding committee take a look at where we might be best able to utilize this and then bring it back to council.
I'll second that, because when I look at what we have going on, we got a fire station we're planning for.
Right.
I know we've got some things that we've talked about coming up with the county.
Right.
I think we need to just kind of lock that money down until we know what we want to do with it.
That's the reason it was
And we-
sitting like it is, till we
yeah,
figure out
and-
what we were gonna do with it.
Yeah, so I'll second your motion that we send it to future fund and just not allow that money to be moved without council approval, if that's what you're saying.
We got a motion and a second by Steve.
Doug, is that proper motion?
Yeah, I was figuring to make
Okay.
sure, is
Yeah.
everything proper on that? He didn't kick me yet, so.
He hadn't told us not to yet.
That's right. So, no, we got a motion and a second made by Bruce and second by Steve Keel to put this 400 and something thousand in this grant fund DR 4702 to committee of the whole, so we can,
Future fund.
future funding, excuse me.
It'll go to Amy this time.
Yeah, it goes Amy this round.
She looks like she's ready to have a meeting over there. Really
She ain't
excited.
smiling that big. All right, we move it to future funding. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty. That's what we'll do with that money.
Mayor.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question while we're still on grants. Can we go to the grant that was about the Pardue Lane Park? I don't remember what the grant went.
RTP and Land and Water.
Okay,
Yes.
this is one that we've talked about for quite some time, and I
Mm-hmm.
just wondered if we have an update. This might be more for Mike.
Well, what we're doing, we're going to break that out here in February, end of February, 1st of March, because we got to get ready on part of that grant money that's got to go out.
That was my question, isn't there a deadline on this?
There is, the RTP funds, we have to get approval on, by April.
Right.
So that we can get a grant agreement because we don't currently have one yet. They required us to prepare our bid documents first to be sent to them. And those are in the hands of Bell Engineering. They're finishing
Okay.
up some final corrections and then they'll be sent on to the state, at DLG.
So we should hopefully see some movement on this project
Yes,
pretty soon.
Mike Perry and them are already moving forward on this.
Yeah, that's true. There is some private money as well.
Right. There is private money involved, and I'll say this, we still need more private money, so
Right.
please give often.
Okay, thank you.
All righty. Any more questions from Ms. Stacy? Put you on the spot first time, didn't we?
You're great.
Steve?
I just want to piggyback on what Terry said, because the grant stuff is so important to the city. And I just want to say, I'm sitting here now 3 years, and I know Amy a little longer, and Jay Bell, and this is probably the most grant activity we've seen since,
Yes.
in the 3 years that I've been
For
here.
sure.
And I just appreciate the effort you're putting into it. And I know your department heads do as well. The department heads, I've talked to a few, and they're just like blown away. So appreciate what you're doing.
All right. Anybody else have anything else for Ms. Stacy?
No, we all feel the same way.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stacy, and we thank the finance team for all their hard work, Ms. Clayton and Gary and all of them upstairs. They do a great job for us. We appreciate that. All righty. Now we get to move into item 9, approval of minutes for January 23, 2024 special call meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Got Amy and Travis. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we're moving right along to item 10, ordinances. Ordinances 02-2024, Canton, Pike, and Major Lane zoning, second reading.
Amending the zoning maps of the city of Hopkinsville, Kentucky, zone properties on Canton, Pike, and Major Lane. Whereas Community and Development Services initiated a zoning map amendment by Resolution 2023-07 to assign the original zoning designation of R2 Single Family Residential District to properties located on Canton, Pike, and Major Lane. And whereas Community and Development Services made favorable recommendation at their December 18th, 2023 meeting for City Council to approve original zoning application R23-12-1. And whereas City Council concurs said recommendation is in agreement with the Hopkinsville Christian County Comprehensive Plan, and significant physical, social, and economic changes have occurred warranting the zoning of the properties. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Hopkinsville, Kentucky as follows. Section 1, pursuant to KRS 100.211, Hopkinsville Code of Ordinances and Community and Development Services Resolution 2023-07, and recommendation dated December 18, 2023, the following properties as further described on Exhibit A attached hereto and incorporated herein are hereby zoned R2 Single Family Residential District. 4480 Canton Pike, 4450 Canton Pike, PBA parcel 085-03-00006.01, 4230 Canton Pike, and PBA parcel 085-01-00-026.00, 4430 Canton Pike, 4420 Canton Pike, 4400 Canton Pike, 805 Major Lane, 835 Major Lane, 900 Major Lane, 850 Major Lane, 840 Major Lane, 800 Major Lane. Section 2, if any section, subsection, sentence, clause, or phrase of this ordinance is held unconstitutional or otherwise invalid, such infirmity shall not affect the validity of the remaining portions of this ordinance. Section 3, all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict with this ordinance are hereby repealed. Section 4, this ordinance shall take effect after its passage and publication according to law.
All right, I need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Mr. Don and Miss Amy. Any discussion y'all like to talk about? All right, if seeing none, we will call on the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Smiley,
Yes.
Councilmember Marsh,
Yes.
Councilmember Crabtree,
Yes.
Councilmember Craig,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilcox,
Yes.
Councilmember Meek,
Yes.
Councilmember Lumberger,
Yes.
Councilmember Keel,
Yes.
Councilmember Bell,
Yes.
Councilmember Handy,
Yes.
Councilmember Francis.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously on second reading.
All righty, we'll move to ordinance B, 03-2024, surface and stormwater utility, first reading.
An ordinance amending certain sections of Chapter 54 of the Hopkinsville Code of Ordinances relating to surface and stormwater utility. Whereas the surface and stormwater utility is in the process of making changes regarding administration, enforcement, maintenance, and other responsibilities, the current ordinance relating to the surface and stormwater utility should be amended accordingly. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Hopkinsville, Kentucky as follows. Section 1, Section 54.020 of the Hopkinsville Code of Ordinances is amended as follows. 54.020, creation of a surface and stormwater utility board. The surface and stormwater utility is created and known as the surface and stormwater utility of the city. A, the surface and stormwater utility will be governed by a 5-member board appointed by the mayor and approved by City Council. One of the 5 members shall be appointed from City Council and serve a 1-year term. B, each board member shall be appointed to a 4-year term. The initial appointments will have staggered terms, with 2 members serving a 2-year term, 1 member serving a 3-year term, and 1 member serving a 4-year term. Appointments thereafter will be for a 4-year term. C, the utility will adopt and establish the necessary policies and procedures to manage and operate the utility. D, the utility will set an appropriate level of compensation for board members. E, the utility will coordinate, contract, and oversee work responsibilities as they pertain to surface and stormwater. The utility may contract with other parties or agencies for administration and enforcement, monitoring water quality, testing and billing, in maintenance, construction, construction management, and inspections and other items as needed. Section 2, if any section, subsection, sentence, clause, or phrase of this ordinance is held unconstitutional or otherwise invalid, such infirmity shall not affect the validity of the remaining portions of this ordinance. Section 3, any and all ordinances inconsistent with this ordinance are hereby repealed. Section 4, this ordinance shall take effect after its passage and publication according to law.
All right. Ask for a motion. Travis, and then Mr. Meeks, Terry. All righty, any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Smiley,
Yes.
Councilmember Marsh,
Yes.
Councilmember Crabtree,
Yes.
Councilmember Craig,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilcox,
Yes.
Councilmember Meek,
Yes.
Councilmember Lineberger,
Yes.
Councilmember Keel,
Yes.
Councilmember Bell,
Yes.
Councilmember Handy, Councilmember Francis.
Aye.
That passes unanimously on first reading.
Okay, thank you. Item C, ordinance 04-2024 FY 2023 capital budget amendment, first reading.
Amending the City of Hopkinsville, Kentucky annual capital equipment and property replacement budget for fiscal year July 1, 2023 through June 30th, 2024 by estimating revenues and resources and appropriating funds. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Hopkinsville, Kentucky as follows. Section 1, that Section 1 of Ordinance 43, 2023, amending the fiscal year 2023-2024 capital equipment and property replacement budget is amended as follows. Revenues, transfer from general fund, $1,790,099. Transfer from general fund wins additional insurance premium, $132,685. Transfer from general fund police department, $173,909. Insurance proceeds, $68,882. Prior year revenue capital reserve, $122,216. Prior year revenue capital equipment reserve, $1,686,606. Total capital revenues, $3,974,397. Expenses, administration, $70,000. Information technology, $70,000. Police, $1,094,397. Fire, $1,225,000. Fire prevention, $155,000. City maintenance, $470,000. Parks and recreation, $140,000. Sportsplex, $75,000. Water park, $125,000. Buildings and properties, $550,000. Total capital expenses, $3,974,397. Surplus deficit, $0. Section 2, if any section, subsection, sentence, clause, or phrase of this ordinance is for any reason held unconstitutional or otherwise invalid, such infirmity shall not affect the validity of the remaining portions of this ordinance. Section 3, any and all ordinances inconsistent with this ordinance are hereby repealed. Section 4, this ordinance shall take effect after its passage and publication according to law.
So move.
Second.
I got Steve and Travis and Amy. All right. Any discussion on this?
I have a question.
Okay. Ms. Francis.
On the insurance proceeds, can somebody tell me about the change of the amount and if they can describe why?
Yes, there was an increase of $55,775 due to an insurance check. We were reimbursed for a vehicle that was considered totaled by the insurance, so they sent us a check for the vehicle. That money goes back into the capital and will end up going into the vehicle and equipment line for the police so they can purchase another vehicle.
Okay, and is that including the change also on the police line too?
Yes, that's why the expenses rose down for the police. That is correct.
Okay.
They
Okay.
neutralize each other.
Yeah, no one told me, so I said, let me ask.
Yeah, no,
Thank you.
you're very welcome.
Okay. Mr. Crabtree.
When you and I talked the other day, you were gonna have this split into two ordinances. Apparently that didn't happen.
Nope.
So what I would like to do is make a motion to move the water park to its own ordinance where it's separate from the police. That's my motion.
I have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
I'll second that. I like that.
All right, I have Chuck and I have Ms. Lineberg and I have Doug here. So, all righty.
Clarification, that's a motion to amend the motion that's on the floor.
Yes, I want to have them split in two to where the water park and the other is voted separately.
Okay. All those well, we got to do a roll call for that, do we not?
Is any discussion? On
Any discussion anybody want to talk about before we go?
And then we'll vote on the amendment first.
We need to vote on that amendment to separate the water park from this, right here on that.
And Mayor, just before we start, I'll say why I think this is a good idea. There's a lot of talk about the water park issue as a whole, and I think this gives us an opportunity to discuss it a little bit deeper. So I think it's a good idea to break it out.
Okay, all righty. We're going to vote on the amendment first on that.
Councilmember Smiley,
No.
Councilmember Marsh,
Yes.
Councilmember Crabtree,
Yes.
Councilmember Craig,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilcox,
Yes.
Councilmember Meek,
Yes.
Councilmember Limburger,
Yes.
Councilmember Keel,
No.
Councilmember Bell,
Yes.
Councilmember Handy,
Yes.
Councilmember Francis.
Aye.
So that does pass to amend.
Okay, all right, we have passed to amend.
Now you vote on the motion as amended.
We need to vote on the motion as amended, and we'll do a roll call for that.
And for
I've got a
clarification,
clarification.
I would have,
What are we
I would have
voting on?
Melissa clarify exactly the amendment that we're going to be voting on.
You want to vote on the police vehicles first?
Correct.
Then you will remove the prior year capital revenue of 122,216, and we will remove the water park of 125,000. And you will add, Brittany, the surplus back at the bottom of 2784.
Okay.
Let's reread that for clarification.
Correct.
Amending the City of Hopkinsville, Kentucky annual capital equipment and property replacement budget for fiscal year July 1, 2023 through June 30th, 2024 by estimating revenues and resources and appropriating funds. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Hopkinsville, Kentucky as follows. Section 1, that Section 1 of Ordinance 43, 2023, amending the fiscal year 2023-2024 capital equipment and property replacement budget is amended as follows. Revenues transfer from general fund, $1,790,099. Transfer from general fund wins additional insurance premium, $132,685. Transfer from general fund police department, $173,909. Insurance proceeds, $13,107. Prior year revenue capital equipment reserve, $1,686,606. Total capital revenues, that's going to be different. $3,796,406. Expenses, administration, $70,000. Information technology, $70,000. Police, $1,94,397. Fire, $1,225,000. City maintenance, $155,000. Parks and recreation, $470,000. Sportsplex, $140,000. Water park, not gonna read that.
Nope.
Buildings and properties, $550,000. Total capital expenses, $3,793,622. Surplus deficit, $2,784. Section 2, if any section, subsection, sentence, clause, or phrase of this ordinance is for any reason held unconstitutional or otherwise invalid, such infirmity shall not affect the validity of the remaining portions of this ordinance. Section 3, any and all existing ordinances inconsistent with this ordinance are hereby repealed. Section 4, this ordinance shall take effect after its passage and publication according to law.
So moved.
Second.
We got Amy, Chuck, and then Amy.
But we've already got that motion on the floor.
Okay.
It's already, yeah.
Right.
That was just being read.
Reread.
As amended. to
Okay.
And now we
clarify.
vote on that one, correct?
Right, we're fixing to
Okay.
vote on that one now. All righty. I call on the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Smiley,
Yes.
Councilmember Marsh,
Yes.
Councilmember Crabtree,
Yes.
Councilmember Craig,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilcox,
Yes.
Councilmember Meek,
Yes.
Councilmember Limburger,
Yes.
Councilmember Keel,
Yes.
Councilmember Bell,
Yes.
Councilmember Handy,
Yes.
Councilmember Francis.
Aye.
And that motion as amended does pass.
All righty, that's on the police department side. All righty, now we're going back to Chuck's motion
on the water park, and discuss the water.
Yeah, it's my understanding that your motion was to separate these, so there'd be another reading then
Read the
on,
second
on the
one.
water park.
Right.
So Melissa will need to clarify the numbers.
Come on down.
The current motion includes the original. Back to this number, which was the. Motion will be what was originally on. The other motion passed, so now it's back to the original with the 125.
All righty. Ms. Brittany to read this.
Amending the City of Hopkinsville, Kentucky annual capital equipment and property replacement budget for fiscal year July 1, 2023 through June 30th, 2024 by estimating revenues and resources and appropriating funds. Now therefore be it ordained by the City Council of the City of Hopkinsville, Kentucky as follows. Section 1, that Section 1 of Ordinance 43, 2023, amending the fiscal year 2023-2024 capital equipment and property replacement budget is amended as follows. Revenues, transfer from general fund, $1,790,099. Transfer from general fund winds, additional insurance premium, $132,685. Transfer from general fund police department, $173,909. Insurance proceeds, $68,882. Prior capital reserve, $122,216. Prior revenue capital equipment reserve, $1,686,606. Total capital revenues, $3,852,018. Expenses, administration, $70,000. Information technology, $70,000. Police, $1,094,397. Fire, $1,225,000. Fire prevention, $155,000. City maintenance, $470,000. Parks and recreation, $140,000. Sportsplex, $75,000. Water park, $125,000. Buildings and properties, $550,000. Total capital expenses, $3,974,397. Surplus deficit, $0.
All righty. There it is.
So moved.
Got Steve, need a second?
Second.
Got Chuck? All right. Any discussion? All right, not seeing no discussion?
Clarification, this is to fund the repairs to the water park.
Correct.
We vote yes, we're voting
If
fix.
you vote yes, we are going to give the
Fix one of our city
125,000 to the
assets.
water park. If you vote no, we don't give it.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay?
Question, I got a question.
Yes, sir?
This might be for Mike, but all of this, except the 35,000 for that pipe repair, is preventative maintenance, is that?
Yes.
That is correct. 33,000 for pipe repair, right at 33,000. All the other would be preventive maintenance that we would have to do regardless.
Okay.
There's also a caveat to this. HWA is going to refund the city. It's actually going to be 25,300 and some odd dollars. We thought it was going to be around 40,000 for the excess water used last year and the sewer. But if we don't repair it, we don't get that 25,000 back.
Okay.
So we're
Just
going to get
simple as
most of
that.
that 35 back?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But the repairs have to be done to get that money back.
Yes.
That is correct. If we do not do the repair and show them that we actually did the repair, they do not refund the money back.
All right.
Hey, Mike, real quick, just to clarify, the repairs,
Hold on just a
go
second.
ahead, Travis.
If we don't do these repairs, we don't open, right?
That is correct.
Correct. Correct.
That's why we had to close down last year, and it's mainly because we got a 20-foot section of pipe that's cracked. And I won't go into any details because it might be a legal matter later, but there's some other issues there. We be disclosed later, maybe at closed session, so.
All right. Doug?
Yeah, just real quick, Mike. So the preventative maintenance that what's that, $80,000 worth, something like that?
Well, this 33, we need about 104,000.
Yeah.
We request 125,000 because we know we got to get a crane, get pumps out to have them rebuilt. The pumps are going on 10 years since the last time they've rebuilt. We're on bar time. They're still running, they're still functioning right now. You can take a gamble if you want to and run the year without having to rebuild. But if we get in the middle season and we have a pump go out on one slide, so then you're going to shut a slide down for the year because you're not going to get a pump rebuilt. These pumps are not, they're obsolete anymore. You cannot get them.
My only question is the preventative maintenance, why is it not figured into our operating budget that we operate from anyway?
Well, that's why I requested the mayor, in the future, we need to have actual more money into the water park for actual maintenance.
Fair enough.
Previous administrations didn't allow it. I'll just put it that way.
Okay.
And then we've had this conversation with Mike and blaming him that we are going to, in this budget, set it up for, we can put money back, just like we've done the fire department, on the police department, we have to start putting stuff back for the general maintenance for the stuff that we have on that. Terry, I'm sorry.
He already answered it, but it just makes sense to do annual maintenance on that.
Correct.
So that we don't run into $1 million bills.
Correct.
You know,
Well, and for a lot of you don't understand, we didn't really have a water budget now until 2 years ago. Before then, it was kind of, we had a budget, but it wasn't actual line item by line item. Of course, back from previous administration, we requested money before, and it got denied. And that's before it ever went to city council. City council used not see what the departments request. When it went to the mayor, it automatically whatever got cut out of our budget that we requested, it got cut out. Council never did get to see that. Thanks to Troy Body, Troy changed that several years ago, where now you get to see what we actually requested and what the mayor's actually budget is.
So about how much a year do you need for continuing funding to make sure that we have timely maintenance so that we don't run into, you're going to have issues because of the nature of.
And that's hard to determine because everything's a little bit different, but if you're going to need approximately, somewhere around 35 to 40,000 in there every year for maintenance. We might not spend it all. It goes back to general fund, of course. But to have a cushion there where we know we have enough money in there, if we have anything major going, like a pump goes out, a motor, so forth, a liner to get tripped, or we have to replace a part on the spray structure or something like that, we have money in there. Well, I don't have to come back to city council and ask every time we need $20,000, $30,000.
on that, saying that, we were looking already, me and Troy's done been talking about this. We're both pushing somewhere around $40,000 to $50,000 in the budget for the water park. So we don't have to come and ask you every time we need money. So we have to fix something. I'm finding out a lot of things are like Mike said is, the council didn't get to see it. Mayor's cut it. I'm letting everybody see everything. Here it is. And that's the reason we're discussing this now. That being said, Councilman Keel, you raised your hand a while ago.
I just want another point of clarification. Honestly, Mike, this probably isn't for you. It's going to maybe be more for Melissa, just because when we talked about this the last time, I know Terry and Doug weren't here, and I think there was some things got kind of convoluted when we were talking about where this money's coming from. This is not the capital replacement reserve. This is more of a capital reserve. I know I talked to JR about it a little bit this morning. I think I even asked you about this one. I'd never heard of this fund. This is basically, correct me when I'm wrong here, and if I'm not, man, good for me. But so if we say we just gave police department whatever money for a vehicle, say we authorized them 65,000, the vehicle came in at 55. This is the difference on money we have allocated for other capital items that goes into this fund. It just kind of builds up. So we're not getting into the capital replacement or our normal capital budget. This is just carryover money.
Yes. So if you look at the budget amendment, there are two capital reserve accounts. Okay. I'm going to try to explain the difference between the two. The prior year capital equipment replacement reserve sits in the general fund. I report on it every month during our monthly financial statement of what's in the capital equipment replacement reserve. That's the one that's restricted according to MO. It's also in our financial policies that we put 50% of our surplus into the capital equipment replacement reserve. The capital fund is, we've transferred money from all these transfers from the general fund into the capital fund. If we allocate $50,000 for a car and we only spend 45, we've already moved $50,000 to the capital fund. That 5,000 goes into the capital fund. It doesn't go back to the general reserve. It sits in the capital fund until city council reallocates that money.
Just builds up over time.
It builds up over time. So currently in the capital fund, we have about $135,000 sitting there unallocated, waiting for council to decide what to do with the money. So we will be using the capital reserve, not the equipment replacement reserve, the capital reserve of what's been built up over the years from capital projects that haven't been spent. So that's the difference in the two line items. I hope that makes sense. Do you guys have questions about that?
We're lucky to have it.
I got a question. At the end of the day, this is taxpayer dollars. It's just being allocated a different way, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, of course. I mean, Mr. Perry told us last time that he was here that you didn't think it would cost that, but you were requesting the 125,000, so he didn't have to come back for a supplemental.
Right, I want contingency in there, just to make sure if we have any other issues come up, to cover anything unforeseen things. If we don't spend all the 125,
Yeah.
then it goes right back, so.
Well, number one, thank you for your frugality and everything that you've been doing, so that's good too. But my only other question was, did this cover the repair of the slides?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
good. That's all right.
It does.
All right.
Any more questions for Mike? Yes, ma'am.
Just wanted to ask for, do we have any, do the water park has any reserves? Do they
No.
have-
No.
No,
Okay,
there's no reserve in the water park. The
okay,
way the budget is set up, there will never be any reserves unless we put in some maintenance money and we don't spend that.
okay, thank you.
Only way we'll get reserves if we allocate X number of dollars in next year's budget and we don't spend it, then we'll put it back into the general like we always do on that.
Now, we still have 2 years on the bond payment.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
once it's
Right,
paid off, then hopefully we'll be making revenue. And of course, my idea is once you start making revenue, you put that into a trust fund. That's what we use that for future maintenance of the water park.
Right.
Good point.
Thank you.
You know, once we get through, I believe it's February of 26 that we get through with the last bond payment on this. And then we'll start hopefully seeing a little generation of money on that.
Mhm. Amen.
Okay.
So
Any more? Yes.
one last point of clarification. So I think all the logic makes good sense, Mike, and I appreciate everything you're doing. The thing I look at is, there's a lot of talk around this water park. We all know that in this community, right? So I'd like to have more proactive approach to the solution. And I think the clarification was made, if we don't vote today to accept this, that the water park doesn't open. But I think there's probably an alternative to that. We could have another proposal by the end of the month. It could include your pipe. It could include some changes. And maybe we'd all have the opportunity to talk a little bit about a different solution. And that's my motivation. So thank you.
Any more discussion on this amendment that we got to vote on now?
When we got signed the contract with the management company,
We already got a contract, but we
We
gotta let them know
already do
we
it.
actually
we gotta
gonna
let
open
them
or
know we're
not
gonna open.
fairly soon.
Yes.
I mean, they're already calling us.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're calling, they've asked me, they sent me
Yes.
emails, they sent Mike
I can
emails.
answer that. The first payment is due before March 1st.
So
It's
we don't
10%
have,
is due.
so we don't have another
We,
month.
we have to make a
We have to have,
decision.
because the
We have to
management
decide in February.
So then, one last thing. Why is the decision being brought to us in the 11th hour? And that's all I've got. I mean,
Well, we've been waiting on,
I
first we had
understand.
to find the leak.
I understand, but
We-
yeah.
As we went through this, we had to find a leak. We worked on it, got that straightened out. Then we had to put it out to find someone to bid on it.
Mhm.
We finally got that done and Mike's got that approved. Now we're bringing it back to you to know what we're going to spend. And now it's going to be up to y'all to decide if we move forward or we tell the city of Hopkinsville we're not moving forward.
As you recall, Blaine Easel sent an email out back in October with every cost of everything that's set for the repair of the leak. And that's one we've been waiting on for a contractor to actually give us a price after we found the leak. Now, we didn't find the leak till probably sometime mid-November. In time you got a contractor come in, it was actually right around Christmas time when they come in. So.
And when was the park, recognize me?
Yes, ma'am.
When was the park closed again? I forgot.
When?
When did we close it?
August 6th.
August
Okay.
6th, yes, ma'am.
August 6th.
And this was gonna come before the committee in January, but it got canceled because of the weather. So it's
So
put
we
us
can't do
behind
nothing
even
about
more.
Mother Nature neither.
Well, and that's the reason we moved it up.
Right, that's the reason it's on
That's why we
council
didn't
floor.
get it to commit, we would, that, and there's a couple of things we moved forward on. And Mike, if I'm not mistaken, you did clarify at the last meeting that the contractor, it was what, right after Christmas, before so,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's right around, I think, maybe a few days after Christmas or
Okay.
a week. I can't remember exactly the date, but
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
And we hounded them every week trying to get them here as
Good
quick as
luck getting
possible.
it.
Well-
That's a bad time to get anybody down.
But I couldn't come to city council till I actually had a number for that.
Well, every time I look up, I ask Mike, what are we doing with water park? And he just said, I don't have an answer because he didn't have an answer yet.
But I made sure Blaine and I called them every week, hounded them till we got them here.
Okay. Any more discussion? All right. We need to read this. Just call the roll on this, Ms. Brittany?
Councilmember Smiley,
Yes.
Councilmember Marsh,
Yes.
Councilmember Crabtree,
No.
Councilmember Craig,
Yes.
Councilmember Martin,
Yes.
Councilmember Wilcox,
No.
Councilmember Meek,
Yes.
Councilmember Lumberger,
No.
Councilmember Keel,
Yes.
Councilmember Bell,
No.
Councilmember Handy,
No.
Councilmember Francis.
Abstain.
Passes. 6-5.
Yep, it does pass.
All right. Okay. All righty.
Got me.
Here we go. Now, we move into item 11 on this municipal order 02-2024 surplus property, and I believe that's police department property.
Hopkinsville City Council hereby declares the attached listed weapon surplus property and authorizes the mayor to dispose of said item by methods available in KRS 65.041.
Okay. Travis and Amy, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty. And we move into other. Any other business we need to speak about tonight? Seeing no other, I'll move into item 13, councilman comments. Any comments from council? UK must be playing. All righty.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I did have a resident over behind the Walmart and I forget the name of the street that runs across the street from Walmart, runs back behind the apartments, and we just put the four-way stop in there civilly. Yeah, thank you. That expressed their concern about the potholes in that area. I know
Yes,
that
sir.
there's, she had some good things to say for our police chief for trying to slow the traffic in that area, but it's apparently it's pretty, must be pretty treacherous back in there.
Yes,
So I
we do
thought I
have a lot
might
of potholes in there. My phone's rung off the morning about them. So,
speak on behalf of the residents over in there and just pass it along. Thank you.
oh, me, Trav. Thank you, Mr. Marsh.
Sure.
And Mike?
Mr. Mayor, I have a comment.
Yes,
It was in the storms of 2023 when they blew through here. One of the residents in Ward 9, he ended up with a huge tree in his yard over his carport, made the carport unusable. I worked with HES, Public Works, and I just want to say thank you. Spoke with the gentleman earlier this evening that the stump has been fully removed, so I can get out there with him, put a little sweat equity and help him rebuild his fence. But thanks, guys, for getting the job well done. Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. James.
One
Yes,
more.
Mr. King.
Yeah, so just on that comment that you made, Don, I'd already spoke with Mike Perry,
Oh, nice.
and his crew is going to take a look into it, and it'll go on the list, just like everything else.
Right. And Mike and him's been, and Dave and Blaine have been really quick on the potholes. I call him, it seems about every day, or send him a little text. Most time I call him, I don't text much. But, that being said, if y'all do have a pothole, call him or something needs to be done, and we'll get this taken care of for you.
Well, I know that Councilmember Meek takes really good care of that area, especially, you know, when the four-way stops and all were going in
Yes.
and so forth. But apparently this resident had seen me in the area because of the general election. I was walking through that
Right.
area. So I just cleared up that I'm not their council person. You were.
Yeah.
It's good. So.
Any other
thank you.
comments? Seeing none, I'll go back to Ward at 6. Travis, let's have an adjournment, sir.
Just two quick quotes on leadership I found today. The first one says, "True leadership must be for the benefit of the followers, not to enrich the leader." And the second one is, "Life is 10% of what happens to me and 90% of how I react to it." And those are both by John Maxwell.
All right.
We'll make a motion to adjourn.
Have a motion to adjourn. Need a second? All right. We are adjourned. Thank you.
Dude,